Hi, Doug Mealy here from Safer Handling, and welcome to this week's episode of
They Lie
From the Road, where I've been down at Lilleshall National Sports Centre via Preston to drop Ryan off, and now I'm over to get some soft restraint kits before it's back to Cardiff. So, let's get into the episode. What has a snail and a bottle of ginger beer got to do with liability? What have they got to do with the supply chain and people dishing out kits, equipment, especially restraint equipment, with no medical reviews, no testing documents and no training manuals? Well, if we go back to 1927, where Mary Donoghue was in a cafe in Paisley in Scotland, she was having a ginger beer float, one of her favourite things. She was quite hard up for money and she was very glad when she saw that her friend was going to pay the bill. She poured the drink into the bottle, started drinking it, and as she was halfway through, she noticed the rotting, smelly remains of a snail with its broken shell in the bottle. Made her feel a bit sick. She went home and she slept it off. Gradually over the next few days, her health deteriorated and she found herself in hospital, very weak to the point where she couldn't stand, she couldn't walk. She's speaking to her friends about this and they were saying, look, this isn't fair, maybe you should speak to a lawyer, and that's exactly what she did. So cut a very long story short, there was a court hearing in which Lord Atkin defined who your neighbour is. Who is your neighbour? Well, those who are affected directly or indirectly by your acts or your omissions. So the things that you do or the things that you don't do. Legislation and ACOPs don't just stop there, because we've also got Section 6 and PUA. The provision and use of work equipment regulations, which says that if you're going to have equipment for work, you should come with information, instruction, training and supervision. So Section 6 requirements say that if somebody is part of the supply chain, they could be liable for this. Now that's one of the reasons that we don't supply soft cuffs, soft restraints, handcuffs, seals, devices, any equipment without training or evidence of training. Now we work with police departments, corrections who've got their own training teams. All we'd ask is, let's see your certificates, let's check you're up to date, and along with basic life support and the fact that they do de-escalation training before that, because for what we supply, it's paramount that people are trying to avoid it, then we can say, yes, let's supply the kit. We could flood festivals with soft cuffs and dish them out to security officers who've just got an SAA license, which isn't any kind of benchmark to say that they've maintained training, just that they've passed a basic test. Same as if you've got a driving license. If someone had a driving license, we wouldn't give them the keys to a police car. We might not give them the keys to an ambulance. There's extra training and CPD which would have to go along with that. Another factor for me is ethics. Where's the kit made and who's it made by?
A raid that led to the discovery of 14 enslaved children in India.
Children are being asked to work 17, 18, 19 hours a day. They're being asked to work in insanitary conditions.
I mean, legalities aside here, ethically and reputational risk-wise, would we be comfortable with the headline stating that someone's been found dead or injured in an item of kit that was illegally imported and made in a sweatshop? So we do training for organisations, and as part of the training needs analysis, I often think to myself, what's the ethos like of these training teams? And I've been along a couple of times to provide restraint training or de-escalation training, and I've had to say, yeah, this is good, but maybe we also need to have some cultural sensitivity training. Maybe we need to have some equality and diversity training, and maybe we need some structure of language input and some boundaries for you before we then start putting staff into stances to be defensive and using conflict resolution skills. Because who are we de-escalating? Are we de-escalating them or us? Sometimes there's prejudices or stigma that staff have got that might make it unable for them to be compassionate or care for people. So as always, let me know your questions, comments and observations. That's it from me, Doug Mealy, and this week's episode of
They Lie.
Until next time.